Okay, so living in Thailand as an expat is really great, and nothing quite beats it once you've moved and made that step. But we are reminded that we are just a guest, an alien, and probably one of the things that reminds you more than anything else is your visa and your requirements in order to stay in the country. And the story I've got today acts as a reminder that if you do have a issue with your visa, there can be really some serious, harsh consequences. I think that's probably the best introduction, isn't it, Sarah? So hi, Sarah Jane.
Yes, hi Dan, how are you?
I'm good. So I know we spoke last week about this, and you were keen to share this with other expats so they don't fall into the same trap. But before we
Yes.
go into that, what was your story? How long have you been in Thailand and who with?
Okay, my husband and I, we've lived in Thailand since 2002. So we're long timers. We have two children that we raised in Thailand. One is still at school in Thailand. We have a house in Thailand. We live just outside of Pattaya. We love Thailand. We chose to come there from the United Kingdom when we were in our 20s,
Oh,
and
wow.
now we're not in our 20s. It's been a long time. So yeah, Thailand is wonderful, and it's a really good decision for our family.
Okay, and the visa you got, before we go into too much details, was quite a good visa.
Yes, the visa I had up until just a couple of days ago, it's now expired, but an elite visa, because being under the age of 50 and not needing a work permit to work in Thailand, it was really the only option these days. Is a elite visa, gives you 5 years where you are allowed to live and not have to work.
Okay, right. So for people watching now, I should explain as well that you're not in Thailand. This is down to some of the issues with the visa. You're in Bali.
That's right, I'm in Bali.
So let's not go into the Bali now. What was your story? Where did the issue start with your visa problem?
Okay, in 20 years, never had a visa problem. Like many long-term expats, they will have also had different types of visa. When we first came, it was very easy to get a non-O visa and renewed it every year, no problem at all. Things that took a bit of a turn, and it became more and more difficult to get visas if you didn't want to work in Thailand. And so we opted for elite visa because that solved our problems. But even when you have a valid visa, I still, well, up until a couple of days ago, had a valid visa. That is not the end of the story for some visas. If you, for elite visa, you're allowed to stay for 5 years, but you still have to present to immigration. And if you don't go to immigration, if you stay in Thailand for longer than 12 months for 1 year, you're supposed to go to immigration and get a stamp, which will take you for the next year. You're supposed to present yourself. I've never fallen foul of this before, but this time I did, and with very grave consequences. A 1 year ban. That's why I'm in Bali.
Yeah, amazing. But there was a story. You fell ill, and other priorities kind of took place. This is why it wasn't an innocent. You innocently forgot because bigger things were happening.
That's right. So all of these things, admin for visas, they're not a big deal. All of these things are not a big deal until something big happens in your life. And then all of a sudden things tumble, and things that were normally easy to do are no longer easy to do. And for me, it was a cancer diagnosis and cancer treatment, chemotherapy, radiotherapy. I had all of this done at Bumrungrad Hospital in Bangkok, and they were great. And I was going through the treatment, and it was very debilitating. And in my mind, I wasn't even really thinking about the visa. Occasionally I thought, oh, I'm okay, I've got elite visa. And because I wasn't an inpatient, cancer treatment is not inpatient care. It was 5 weeks of daily visiting as an outpatient. And then the hospital don't take you into consideration about what your passport is then too. So I had the cancer treatment. I thought everything was fine, went back to live my life. And then unfortunately the cancer returned this February. And then this February, the cancer returned. Unfortunately, this type of cancer, when it recurs, it's always terminal. So they offer you palliative chemo and tell you you've got a few months, you've got months, not years. That's what this type of recurrent cancer is. And so I thought, right, I'll make a trip to the UK, go and see my friends and family, and, deal with what's to come. And it was at this point then I made a trip to the UK. I got to Suvarnabhumi Airport, got met by Elite Visa. They give you this like gold service to go through. And they said, you have an overstay. And I said, what do you mean? How? I've got an elite visa. And 99 days. So I was 9 days too many. Anything above 90 days is a 1-year automatic ban. Below 90 days is just the fine, no ban. And I pleaded with them, and they were very nice. The immigration staff, they were, in fact, one of the immigration senior ladies that came to talk to me, she was crying. I was showing them not just my stuff from Grad Hospital, but of course the prognosis is I've got a 1-year ban, but the doctors don't say that I have 1 year left, and so the implications are you never go home again. That's it, you're out. And so this was just, as you can imagine, rather mind-blowing. And there was nothing they could do because my passport was in the system. I'd already checked onto my flight. I had made my way to immigration. It was in the system. They were not able to remove it. And so, yeah, I had to leave. I had to decide to see out this ban. I engaged many lawyers. My next thing was I'm on the phone to my husband. What do we do? Lots of tears, lots of drama, especially after everything that we'd already been through as a family, to have this as well. And so we engaged 5 separate law firms because, there's always some people who may have more pull than others. We speaking with the Elite visa, they couldn't do nothing, not any of them. One of the law firms, it actually even went to immigration in Bangkok. Thai embassy, British embassy, nothing. Really closed doors. And so now as I speak to you today, Dan, this is, I've got 6 months and 20 days left of the ban. I've got a little countdown on my phone. So all that's left to do, that's why we're having this conversation today, is if I can't make it home, the very best that we can do is just let expats know that if you're not on top of your visa, there is no clemency. There is no route back. If somebody who, with this story, I have a child at school in Thailand, I have had all my cancer treatment there. I can't access treatment back in the UK without registering and being there. If it can happen in a case like that, don't anyone think, oh, well, there would be a little loophole that I can get through. I'll be able to solve it.
Yeah, because the shock for me was that you had a Thailand Elite, one of the premium visas. It never expired because it was longer than 1 year. It's just the fact that you have to follow the rules and every year, leave the country. And you fell ill, and you would have thought you could be forgiven for prioritizing your health, but no. And now you're outside the country and your family are back in Thailand.
Yes, and that's why I'm in Bali, because I don't want to go back to England, because I want to be able to see my husband and my daughter occasionally. So being around the Southeast Asia area, then we can meet, like, for example, a couple of weeks ago, we met in Singapore, then it's nice and easy. Whereas if I was in England, 6,000 miles away, it's too far to then meet up. And you have to prioritize what's really important about life, especially when you don't know how long you have, and it is about the connection with your family. So whilst I miss my house and I miss my dogs and, the community of Pattaya, which obviously I know many people after living there for 20 plus years, at least I get to see my husband and my daughter occasionally, the weekends and things like that, by staying here in Southeast Asia.
So being there in Bali on your own, how is it? Is there some positives to it? Can you dress it up in a nice way at all?
I'm in a meditation center right now, actually. And I've been asking this question, Dan, what was the reason for this? Why? How? Why? One thing I can say is my health is good. I haven't spent the whole time in Bali. I went to Turkey. I did go back to England as planned, see friends and family there. The more I'll big up Thailand here. The more I'm outside of Thailand, the more how wonderful I see Thailanders being. Every time that I am out and about, I'm just reminded, especially with my health things. I had great healthcare in Thailand, and then when I've sought healthcare outside of Thailand, I'm like, oh my God, Thailand is so, easy and accessible. So at the moment, I haven't found any big searching reason of hallelujah, that's why I left, because I found my path in nothing like that has happened.
Just reminded you that Thailand was the right choice.
Oh my God, it really is well, as you know, and that's why I was happy to do this with you, because you're someone who is, you're not the retiring out there, but okay, I was a bit ahead of my time. My husband and I, we were in our 20s and we decided this. But for young children, especially, it's wonderful. You know, it's Thailand's a wonderful place. And if anything, okay, maybe it's making me hold on. You know, you get something to live for. I have to make it to June the 3rd.
Got that goal, haven't you?
I have to be back by June the 3rd, and then I can, you know, go back home. You know, that will be wonderful. So maybe that's what I need, the reason to hold on rather than sit there with, you know, many people who get a diagnosis and a prognosis, they believe what's written, and I don't. I've got June the 3rd. I'm coming back.
Yeah, it's good because that's right. You know, you've got this very bad prognosis, but you know, miracles can happen.
Yeah.
Now you're having to deal with it on your own. You know, maybe there's a reason behind all this, and you get back and I don't know, something amazing can happen.
Yes, let's. I mean, we've got Christmas coming up. We've arranged to meet in a third country. We're actually meeting in Malaysia. My daughter's flying in. My husband and other daughter are coming, and you know, so we'll spend Christmas together. And then I'm kind of, if I can get to that 2024 after New Year, it won't feel like next year anymore. It will feel like, okay, just make it to this point, you know. It's been it's been mind-blowing, absolute life-changing
Really,
for everybody. We did even think about, well, should we kind of shut up shop and go and live somewhere for a year together as a family? But my daughter just started year 10, and this is really important. This is the beginning of the GCSEs, so it wouldn't be fair to her to go to a school for a year and then have to come back in and pick up. And it just seemed like the easiest solution. We also couldn't take our pets with us. We have 6 dogs, so you know, you can't travel, you know, to a rental location somewhere else internationally.
Did you ask your daughter, by the way? Did you ask her what she wanted to do?
Yeah, it was not really asked, because you can imagine, as a family, mum's already been sick and this thing has happened, right? So we've already been kind of slapped sideways, that especially when it came back. So going through that the whole first time, then when you get the diagnosis that, hey, it's back, nothing really we can do. It's already been very, very difficult for the children, you know, as it is. So you just want to make things as happy and easy as possible. The school have been brilliant. I let the school, she goes to the Regent school now, and I told them, look, hey, you know, this is the family situation, so they've been super supportive, and she's doing great. Of course, just like you and I video calling right now, we video call every day. It's, you know, I still tell her, hey, your room, look behind you, you haven't picked up your, you know, why is that towel on? I can still be mum from a distance.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
And I get a lot of praise from my husband. He's like, how did you do it all? You know, a lot of men just think that things arrive in the fridge and things just happen around the house and stuff like that. So
isn't that what happens? It happens in my fridge.
Little elves that just make things happen. School uniforms prepared and all of that. No, so yeah, it's been a big time for us to all step up. And yeah, I mean, that's why I wanted to do this video. At the very best, someone might look at it and say, hey, I know somebody, like, we can do something perhaps. But a lot of people can't believe the story. When I first speak to a lawyer, they think, oh, I can do this, this is no problem. And then I get, actually, it is a problem. There is no route for appeal from a blacklist because of overstay. There's route for appeal if it was a crime or something like that then gets solved, but for overstay. So I do understand why you have to have certain visa restrictions and get people to, I understand, because the you kind of want to get rid of the undesirables or those that are scamming the system, you know, just trying to stay in Thailand and not, you know, have a visa or something like that. But this is really a case of someone slipping through the net when there was no intent on, you know, trying to eke out some more of a visa or, you know, try and do something. It's, yeah, purely an accident. And unfortunately, not just myself that's the casualty, but my family too, you know.
Well, let's do this. At Christmas time, when your family's together, call in with all of you on here and give us an update. How cool would that one be?
that will be cool. I've got lots of good friends in Pattaya. You can imagine, after 20 years, you know, my whole community, it's my life is there. Is that when I went back to England, you know, you have some friends and family, but they're not your community now. And so it's very it's very lonely being outside of your community. But what has been good is some really good friends in Pattaya, and they contact me, and you know, we're going to throw a party when I get back, and all things like that. So
very nice. And I know when we befriended each other following when you made the introduction, it said I knew about 20 of your friends. So it shows you the community in Pattaya.
That's right. I actually set up a Facebook group, Pattaya Parent, and that's just because when I set that up when I first was diagnosed, thinking that I was doing projects before that, but you know, stop all those projects, do something close to home, and feel like give back. Because after raising my children in Pattaya, I know a lot about raising children in Pattaya, not just the schools, but you know, where to get things, all the extracurricular stuff, and so I set up a little Facebook group called Pattaya Parent, and that kind of keeps me going too, because I look at it every day, and even though I can't access the things that are going on, it feels nice to, oh look, there's some gymnastic lessons, oh look, there's a eat for free at this restaurant with kids, and this feels nice. It's a touch of home.
Yeah, it's very nice. Sarah Jane, I'm going to wrap up for now, but let's keep in contact.
Yes.
Thank
Let's
you very
do
much.
that. Dan, and well done for doing everything you do as well, keeping people informed in Pattaya. It's great, really good.
Thank you very much.
All
Don't
right.
go anywhere. I'm going to stop recording.
Bye-bye.
I'm still there.
Okay.
Bye.